Yeah, I got the Northern Tool catalog here, and I just want to read some numbers out to you. There's some relatively cheaper ones here. 22-ton log splitter for $1,000. We got a 37-ton log splitter for $1,899. You get the vertical option on that, and you can pay $2,799 for it. So before you say I'm crazy, I just want to let you know you're crazy too. What's up, all you crazy kittens out there? Yo, I'm gonna go into some splitting wedges today, and I'll tell you about why you might think I'm crazy later on. This might be part of it, but there's more to it than that. That'll come at the end. But before we go to the bench to take a look at this splitting wedge and some other ones, just to talk about splitting wedges for a little bit, I wanna make sure you know about the Guild of Professional Sharpeners, which is a community of knife and tool sharpening people, enthusiasts who are taking the skill after learning it, coming in sometimes with no skill at all, sharpening, and then monetizing that skill and turning it into a business, and it works. It really works. It's awesome, and it's a lot of fun. So if this sort of thing, like sharpening, like hands-on sort of stuff, like building a revenue stream, adding security to your life, if those things are messages that resonate with you, you should check out the Guild of Professional Sharpeners, and that is at guildofsharpeners.org. Welcome to episode 54, 2021 of the Thursday Night Grind, and I'm excited, so let's go right to the bench and take a look at some splitting wedges. So what we're looking at here is clearly four different splitting wedges. These three are mine. This one came in. This is a customer, so I thought we'd just talk about splitting wedges for a little bit. Here's where this journey starts. This is where it's interesting. These two I've had for a while. I don't even know where I got them. Some things stand out about these, though. First off, as I put these two wedges in the same log, this one doesn't split. It either bounces out or it gets buried and doesn't split. It like blew my mind. This one split pretty well, and like there's some unique features going on here, right? Like there's a hole in it, but it's also mushroomed over quite a bit from getting banged on. You can see that's falling apart there too. So this is, you know, I'm going to keep working this wedge, but when I do, like pieces of metal are going to be flying off. So it says right on here, wear your safety goggles, like wear your safety goggles, right? But that begged the question that there must be something about the differences in here, because the way that they split was dynamically different. It blew my mind how different it was. So I thought somebody must have put a lot of thought into a splitting wedge and figured out like what a good splitting wedge design is. And then I came across a company, Helko Werk. Forgive me, all my German friends. I am assured that I'm butchering the name. But anyway, look at this, a nice leather case for your splitting wedge. You ever seen that before? That's crazy. Look at this thing. Look at that thing. All right, so a couple really magical things going on here. Look how it's narrow here and gets wider this way, right? Like that's opposite of this one. This one's the same. All right, so something's going on there. This one, you might notice these lines standing out at you. I'm assuming that this is put in here so that as you drive it in, it's like a little barb and it doesn't pop back out. Like that's my assumption for those. The cool thing, which I'm hoping you can kind of see here, is that it's twisted. So as you drive it in, it twists. And oh man, isn't that sweet? I'll tell you, it does work like a champ. It is not, so the difference, the other thing, which the head is shaped differently. You can see I banged it up a little bit. I'm curious whether this is going to mushroom over like that one or whether it won't. So time will tell on that. I got to hit it a few more times. But anyway, the bottom line here is that this one and this one, the improvement over with this one wasn't like as apparent as the difference between this one over this one. This one can be set aside, not to be used again unless I find some other use for it. But these two are sweet. And I'm bringing this up because, oh yeah, we'll get into why I'm crazy about that. But, and then this one came in. You can see, I don't think there's anything special about this one. It has a lot of the same character features as this. Mushroomed over, not flat, starting to fall apart. So we will clean it up. We will put an edge on it. Can you see that? Maybe not. There's nothing there. The one thing that did stand out to me on this one was that the bevels they have a nice surface finish on the bevels, but there's a pronounced burr on it, and it's still there. I was wondering if after I drove it in a little bit, whether they would knock that burr off, and it did not. So I'm going to do that. And the other thing, so I think there's probably two really important things about splitting wedges. One is the physical shape and structure and design of it. And the second is the material composition. And these guys take pride in, that's the model number. I forget what the type of steel is. I didn't look it up and research it, but I trust that they have researched it and decided that this is a good steel. Oh, their forging that's number 3. The forging process, or the way they make it. There was some material, some sales material that I looked through that indicated that they have definitely thought through the way to forge these so that they hold their edge. You can bang on them; they don't fall apart. So I'm curious to see how this one holds up. Without any further ado on the performance of splitting wedges and how not all splitting wedges are the same, let's talk about how I'm going to work them. It's pretty straightforward, right? If you've seen the axe or hatchet show, it's pretty much the same thing. This one in particular will go to the wire wheel. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to put a 60 grit ceramic belt on the 1x30, find the angle that I like, and just cut a new bevel on it. And then I could refine it with the Werk Sharp and tool grinding attachment, which I might do. I haven't decided yet. Or just run through a few belts on the 1x30, which I might do since I'm doing several at once. It might be easier just to work through belts on the 1x30. So let us dive into that. Okay, going into the voiceover mode here, and there's not a whole lot to share with you about cleaning things up on a wire wheel. I have been asked like the details on the wheel, and honestly, I don't know. I picked it up at Lowe's and it's held up for years, so I'm not even sure it's the best wheel there is, but whatever, I'm making it work and I'm not worrying much about it. One thing I do want to call attention to is see how I have the wedge oriented so that it is not perpendicular to the rotation of the wheel. Sometimes you do kind of have to go perpendicular to get the fine spots, but I learned that through one of the knife making books. There we go. See how I'm perpendicular to it now? That is a little bit more of a sketchy operation. And what I was just saying is in a knife making book I was reading with regard to buffing that can pull that blade right out of your hand and whip it across the shop that you're in. So be super careful. It's, I've had it catch on the wire wheel before being perpendicular, but it hasn't been a big issue to me. But when I can, I try to go so that the wheel is spinning parallel to the main structure of the whatever I'm cleaning up. Skipping the rest of that wire wheel work for you, we're going to go right to the 1x30. Turning on my dust collector with my little remote there. That thing is sweet, dude. I'm really liking having that centralized dust collection in the shop. And sadly, the focus isn't perfect here. But whatever, you get the point, right? So here I am. I'm setting what do you think that angle is? Maybe 40-ish, something like that. Oh, yeah, my blast gate. I had my blast gate going to the wrong machine. So now we're actually, look at that thing. So whatever, I got the 60 grit ceramic belt, just hogging material off of there. It doesn't get real hot, but I'm still monitoring it. You can feel it warm up. One thing I've been working on is a new platen, which is the thing I'm pushing up against on the other side of the belt. And stay tuned for advances in that. There's a piece of leather on there now, which is okay, but not perfect yet. So I have some other ideas I'll be running with. But anyway, here I'm just working that. I'm just cutting a new bevel on this. And what we will see down the road, I'll cut and skip ahead if we don't get there before I'm done rambling, but I move up to the slack belt. So what you're doing when you're grinding against the platen, you are effectively getting a flat grind on whatever you're working. And if you move above the platen, then you get a convex grind. And I, in this case, am a bigger fan of a convex grind for this tool, but the advantage of grinding against the platen is that you get to push into it a little bit more, so you get a little bit greater grinding action So if you're trying to make time, I like going against the platen, but for refining a convex grind, I'll be moving up to the slack belt portion on this machine. So I just moved on to my other wedge. I'm not going to cut my Helko Werk on this because I just need to pull the burr off. So I'll go to that when I'm getting up into the finer belts. And look at that. Look, see how it's just pulling steel off there. Those ceramic belts are awesome. If you're not using one, you might check one out. If I'm doing chips or tips or anything like that on knives, I really like working on that ceramic belt. And like I said too, it doesn't, the heat generation is so minimal for the amount of work that it does. It's a good belt to have. And it makes good time too, so I don't find that I'm going through my belts real quick, the 60 grit anyway. And that ceramic belt holds up pretty good. You can see I'm adjusting my angle a little bit. This one had that one, now it's gone, had a more shallow bevel, and I ended up making it a little bit steeper. And now I'm in the mode of, so that's done with the 60 grit, going to the 120. This one's also ceramic, edge core ceramic from Red Label Abrasives. Good belt. I've gotten a lot of miles out of this belt already. I'm not sure, I think it's the first edge core ceramic one I've put on this machine since I got them around, let's see, I bought them on the Black Friday sale. So yeah, that's a long haul, man. That's probably about a month of grinding on that belt. That's impressive. All right, so I think here, I will skip ahead real soon, but actually there's not much more to it. So we're just working slack. I got the bevel cut, so now I'm going in the slack belt. And as we go up in belts, I do want you to see how that Helko Werk showed up on the belts, mainly the spark pattern. So I'm gonna jump ahead there. I'm pretty sure this is a 320 belt I'm working right now, and this is the nicer of my older wedges. Yeah, you see that hole right there. So the belt progression goes pretty quick once you're moving into the finer belts, and here I think I'm grabbing that. Yeah, here we go. All right, well on the camera it looks kind of the same, but when it was grinding in real person, it definitely was a different spark pattern, and I guess the only way I could describe it was that it felt like finer sparks and they came up a little bit easier, which would indicate to me a higher carbon content in the blade. But I don't really know what I'm talking about. So I just know that the spark pattern was different and it felt good. So, oh, there we go. My focus came in. Oh, nice. All right. You see that? Like, now that I'm looking at it from here, like that, I don't know if I do it again. I do. Okay, watch this. It's going to look the same on camera, but I'm telling you, it's a different spark pattern coming off of that. Still checking for the burr. It actually took quite a bit of work and a steeper angle than I expected to get the burr off of there. And what was nice is that you could see where the belt was working on the edge. So pretty easy to hone in on that final angle. One more pass here, and that's pretty much it. I go through a few more belts, but that is the process. Just a quick note on my belt wall there. Like if you ever build your own, don't build it like I did. My pegs are way too close and they're way too short. Like they should be I made them like protrude 1 inch off the board. I put them in, make them so one falls off, right? Make them come out of maybe 2 inches for a 1 inch system, and then space them out. I think if I went twice the distance. So if you took every other one out, that'd be about the appropriate spacing, which is probably going to be on the order of 6 inches. Just so you know, someday I'll make round 2 of my own. One last thing caught my eye as I was fast forwarding through here, but so this is that nicer wedge, and as I'm finishing it up, I'm on the 800 grit belt right now. You're going to see I'm going to take a pass here, turn it around, take a pass. Just keep working that burr off, get it nice and flimsy with hopes that it just ends up falling off on the last stroke. And here, check for sharpness. It's good to go. Okay, so I just want to show you the surface finish on those if I can. That is pretty good, definitely nice and sharp. This one, I hope you saw the sparks flying off there. Just the way the sparks flew off was an indicator. That's definitely a different steel in there. And it took a nice edge. The burr is gone. on both sides. I didn't, yeah, so my progression there was 60, 120, 320, 600, 800. That was my belt progression. And almost cut myself. All right, so that's plenty sharp. I'll keep an eye on those to see if they fold over or burr up. This would be a good application if you have your field sharpener, your Werk Sharp field sharpener. If you feel any of these putting up a burr or folding over in any way, you keep up with it and take a pass, and like if you don't let it get bad, it doesn't get bad. You know what I mean? So that is sharpening 3 different wedges on a 1x30. Okay, if I just told you I spent 75 bucks on a splitting wedge, you'd say I'm crazy. And then if I told you I spent 175 on a splitting maul, splitting axe technically, you might think I'm crazy there too. But that's why I read off the numbers for the splitting, so the splitters. Like for those of you splitting wood, you've probably dropped $1,000 on a splitter. So, and then here's the kicker, right? Like everybody is pursuing this goal of how fast can I split my wood, and it dawned on me like I actually really like splitting wood. So why don't, instead of like, I mean like physically like splitting wood, swinging a maul, setting a wedge, like turning a big round and a bunch of stuff for firewood, I enjoy that. Like I feel, you know, like we spend 50 bucks a month and like all the energy to drive to the gym, to stand on a treadmill running, going nowhere. And I could be burning the same amount of calories splitting wood. And I don't, like here's the issue. The issue is when you fall behind and then you're like, oh crap, like winter's coming and now I got to split 4/4 wood and like get that, you know, like how fast can I get through this pile? What if instead we're like every, 2 mornings a week I go out and split wood? Actually, my son's, he just turned 3. He loves splitting wood with me. It's awesome. Like I split them and he stacks them. Like what if we do like, just go spend 20, 30 minutes at it at a time. Now we're having a good time. We're getting exercise. Like we're breathing that fresh air, swinging the maul around. Like why am I doing a splitter? It's loud, it's obnoxious, it doesn't start sometimes. Like a hydraulic hose blew and split hydraulic fluid in my face, man. Like I don't know. So it all dawned on me, like, why am I doing it this way? Like why not get ahead of the game, buy a nice splitting maul for a fraction of the cost of a splitter and a wedge to get through the big rounds, and then like enjoy it. So I don't know, chew on that for a little bit. I'm telling you, I'm not crazy. Everybody else is crazy, but whatever, man. That's the angle I'm coming at it from. If that idea kind of hits with you, let me know, because it's good to find people that kind of get it, All right, that's it. Please do all those things that cost you nothing and help me out, like leaving a comment, be like, yeah, man, like I love splitting wood, and like that's a sweet wedge and whatever. Or be like, dude, you're crazy, and thanks for the vid, but I'm definitely going to be using my splitter. Whatever, man. Different strokes for different folks. But yeah, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and make sure you hit the bell, because most Thursdays I want to show up here and sharpen something on the bench at the American Edge. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.